What's up, everyone? Welcome back. In the overnight hours, the market sold off, and we are gapping down on the S&P or the SPY this morning. We also see that the Qs gapped down overnight, and that was because of the Meta earnings. Meta sold off, I believe it was um, over 14% or something like that. Just to get a quick measurement here. We sold off, yeah, it was about 15% on Meta. And so, what does that mean for the markets? Are we going to continue to see selling, or are we going to see some sort of correction here? Well, we'll get into all that here in just a moment, as well as some other markets that are shaping up to move higher. And then we will get into uh, gold and Bitcoin later on. So, an analyst issues a stark warning on big tech stocks ahead of earnings. So, obviously, we have earnings this week. Tesla's earnings, although they had some positive things to say, their earnings really wasn't that great, and Meta um, really missed on the earnings, and that was because of a lot of spending. So we need to see what these other big tech companies report this week. We've got Microsoft and Google reporting uh, after the close, so that will probably really determine which direction we're going on these markets. And if we do see further weakness uh, with these companies' earnings, then I expect to see the S&P and the broader market sell off. We could get that 10% correction, and that would line up with the 200-day moving average down around that 470 to 480 zone on the SPY, and the Qs could also move further down and see further downside, probably down somewhere around the 400 level. So just keep an eye on that. We will need to see what they do. But what is going on in the stock market and these other markets that does look still fairly bullish. Well, if we look at things like the mid cap, the money's beginning to rotate out of these bigger blue chip stocks and into some of these other companies. So that is good for the long term. You could see some of these mid cap stocks and small cap stocks do well later this year. I still do believe that is the case, but we may have a couple more weeks or months of weakness here in the markets as we go into the summer months. And really, even like the IWM here, it's showing signs of strength when these other um, markets are selling off. Obviously, it's going to move more in either direction, but it seems like these markets are picking up a little bit quicker than the broader markets. So that is a positive sign overall. We also have the HSI breaking out. And I mentioned this here a couple weeks ago on this channel when we saw this inverse head and shoulders here on the HSI, that I thought we may get and move higher. And once we broke out of this down sloping trend here, then it really kind of started to take off, came back down, retested this a couple times now, and the last 4 days or so, the HSI has been looking really good. These Chinese markets are starting to look good. Um, we can just do a quick little measurement here on this. So from the neckline down to The head was about 11%. So where does that take us from here? Well, if we do another measurement over here, then 11% would take us all the way up to about 18,700 on the HSI. So that market is looking pretty good. And also the C triple Qs. We also have, it's a little harder to see on this chart, but sort of have a little inverse head and shoulders here on this market. This is really where I started calling this because this was the one I was looking at more so than the HSI. But anyway, yeah, made some good little entries uh, over here. And if we just take a look at that, what does that mean? Well, if we take, draw us a little line here to our head and shoulders, then we can take that and let me straighten this up here a little bit, move that over to where we are seeing this breakout. And so that puts us up somewhere in this range within this box. And so a target of about $37 on the C triple Qs. So that's a nice little upside gain. And overall, really more long term, I am pretty bullish on this market here. This market's been sold off super aggressively over the last couple years uh, with losses of around 80 to 90%. So I could see this market doing pretty well for a while. There is a lot of fears over there since uh, the things since COVID and the real estate issues they've been having over there. But yeah, I think this market is really starting to look like it's going to turn more bullish over the next couple of years, and things may start to turn around over there. If you are interested in buying stocks or ETFs such as the C Triple Q, you can do so over on Robinhood, and you can start building your portfolio with just as little as $1. So that means if you want to buy something like a Meta that was at $400, well, you can buy a fractional share of that over here on Robinhood. There is a link down below. Plus, they also offer gold and crypto, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. Again, there's a link down below if you are interested. So, a lot is going on in the other markets in crypto, Bitcoin. Well, I had this in yesterday's video, and I just wanted to go back to this again because what we see with the Chinese markets shaping up to being pretty bullish and starting to look stronger. Well, we also know that we have the Hong Kong ETFs going live at the end of this month. All right, guys, I am not sure if you are still here with me. I am getting a warning that the software I'm using had disconnected. It says it's reconnected, so hopefully we're still recording. Anyway, yeah, so the U.S. wirehouses go live in May, and so that will be more bullish for Bitcoin. If we go over here and take a look at the Bitcoin chart, this morning we were sitting at $63,400, down a little bit off yesterday. But again, this market here is still showing to me signs of relative strength compared to uh, the S&P and the Qs. Um, it seems like there is a little bit more strength here. These markets are still fairly bullish, um, but really we're in indecision here. If the S&P sells off down to around that 470 to 480 level, well, you could see Bitcoin go down and retest some of these lower levels. There's just a bit of resistance right around the $57,000 level, but really that $50,000 to $52,000 level will be key. So if it did pull back here, I think this would be a great buying opportunity to get in on Bitcoin or some of these other altcoins if you have missed out. And I wanted to zoom out here a little bit on this chart just to show you, uh, or remind you of this that we've spoken about before on this chart. Let me get it set up over here. So yeah, so if you see this pattern, what does this look like? Well, it looks like a giant cup and handle, and this being a flag pattern right here, and we know that flag patterns typically break to the upside. So that will be the catalyst if we get out of this zone and we just go back here to the daily of these highs here around $73,000, then we will most definitely go up and probably stop somewhere and uh, test that $80,000 range. Um, so yeah, this is starting to look pretty, still looking pretty bullish, but we just got to see what the markets do overall. The RSI is coming down nicely on this, so uh, just it's cooling off here a little bit and building some strength. This may take a couple weeks or a couple months to play out. Typically, the summer months are a little bit of a uh, quiet time for Bitcoin and crypto. So we could see these markets not really do a whole lot for a couple of months here, and maybe they do come back down and retest that $52,000 level. But I do expect that later this year, this market will be much higher. And if we look at the altcoins, this is the total three minus Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, if Bitcoin does well, of course, these markets will take off. And really, they've already seen a pretty big pullback and are remaining relatively strong despite everything that's going on. But I think you're probably still in a good uh, entry point if you want to get into these markets. To be honest, I'd probably wait a couple more weeks to see what all happens before getting in. But really, if Bitcoin does take off, then you probably missed your opportunity. So it's really hard to say whether now is a good time to get in. I think that, we always look back on these things and wish we would have had an opportunity. So just a dollar cost average in, I think, is a great way to do it. Just taking a little bit of money out of your paycheck every week or every 2 weeks or every month is a good way to play these markets if you want to get into them. I don't see anything wrong with that, especially if you're longer term bullish on these markets like I am. I do believe these markets will go much higher over the next 6 to 18 months. So, yeah, we definitely could see a lot of room to run here. And if we look at the RSI, it has come down and started to reset. It looks like it may go just a little bit lower. Maybe we do get that one final sell off that tends to happen around the halving, and then things rocket higher. So, yeah, it's not too bad of time maybe to get in, but maybe wait just a couple more weeks on that. What about gold? Well, gold is holding the $2,300 level. It's cooling off a little bit. Gold tends to move less than the markets in times of uncertainty. And so it's just kind of consolidating here a little bit. Not really sure which way this is going. I think this could come down to this 2150 to $2,200 level. I think that would be a great entry. It has had a great run since uh, just the last couple months, since the beginning of February, really. Um, so a nice little 20% gain on gold, and that has been good for uh, the gold miners and some of the other metals as well as silver. All right, guys, if you're interested in buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, or gold and silver, you can do so over here at iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital has the #1 crypto IRA platform in America and over 3,000 plus 5-star reviews on Google. I use iTrust, um, and they allow you to roll over a portion or all of your 401k or IRA in a tax advantage IRA. And when you are trading crypto and you are making these gains, well, guess what? If you're doing it on an exchange, you are going to get taxed with capital gains. That's why I like to use an IRA to trade in, and they allow you to buy, sell crypto, gold, and silver 24/7. There is a link down below in the description. And don't forget to follow me over at Mind of Financier on Twitter. I am Mind. Be legendary and take care. All right. Peace.